And then the question about the lines, yes, that's why I do this with the lines, because these lines, when I'm moving it, I can get it perfect without having to draw it with my actual hand. So that's why I use the paint.net to kind of draw everything. The other question was, is this easier? Uh, Easier, and once it's yes and no. It just depends. Um, for me, it's different because when I am finished with putting everything together, um, I use Inkscape to start what kind of scene I want. And the reason why I use Inkscape because it has all of this room. So basically, what ends up happening is um, for whatever scene, right? So if I know this is going to be a scene here, I usually will um, right underneath, scene 4, and then I can write a brief description about uh, what this will be. And not only that, with the Inkscape, because it's a high quality uh, like visual aid for me, is everything that I need um, is there. So in the storyboard sense, that's basically why I use it. And you have all the space to add as many different scenes as you want. And I do have these all my pieces that I'm going to be using for the particular scene underneath, and then I'll write a description of what's happening in the scene, or if I make changes. And basically that's pretty much what I do in all senses when I'm kind of building out something. The other thing that I also use it for is for remembering colors as far as characters. So say I have a particular character here, which doesn't look like a character, but I can keep all my uh, colors and everything here if I'm going to be making changes. So if I do have a scene where I have a character this character is basically to be traveling through this little forest, cold forest. I'll have the different variations set up underneath it. So for this particular scene here, I think this one is where he's going to be kind of turning on the light kind of thing. All right, so I'll have that here. Usually I'll just put it inside of on top of so I can kind of look like what it'll look like visually uh, going through. And then if I need to add things, I may kind of duplicate these and so if I wanted to have this where I'm seeing 4, and then I can duplicate everything and kind of move it here and just keep that right there. So when I do have like the other scene, or I have to remember about something that I'm doing, like here, it'll remind me to have the fog get a little bit thicker as he's traveling a little bit deeper into the woods. So that's why I'm not using all the other ones. When I pan out, just imagine how many different scenes you can kind of set up and develop in that way. And then whatever notes that you want to put in here, you can add all of those notes. Be careful with this because I would say, kind of make sure that you have the enough RAM to do that with all of these, because it does take up a lot. So if I'm working on my music, and having that open and then having, you know, three different Inkscapes open, it could be taxing on the computer. So, and even when I have the MOHO open as well, um, maybe if you do this method where you wanted to use Inkscape as a way to create your scenes and develop everything, um, you know, that might be something. But the person asking me, you know, why there was so much uh, all the stuff that was in here, it's because it reminds me of each different scene, right? So I know what I got to change from scene to scene. So a lot of times it'll have like squares, and it'll have, you know, I'll start playing around with visuals, and you know, kind of figuring out what I want to do per scene, then how dark I want it. And once I get everything that the way I like it, I just pop it into Inkscape, and then I do the real animation, you know, with the pieces I've created for all the breakdowns. So for particular this one here, it looks weird because this arm would be basically separated. On this one here, I'm going to be also separating the backpack and of course the head, because that'll be something that'll be animated. And then this arm here basically will be removed. So, and even if I do make edits here, sometimes I will make an edit where I can come in and right. So I know for one scene, this arm is going to be kind of holding a gun shooting backwards, um, right? And that's before I add this hand here. So we have to have all the hands separate, especially for this side of it. So what I would do if I don't want to erase it, because it's really kind of hard to erase things in Inkscape. There's probably a way to do it. I just haven't seen a way to erase the PNGs the way I want them. But what I'll do is I can come in here, and if I know I'm going to get rid of this arm, or it's just a reminder of getting rid of the arm, I can come in and do that by just covering it up with a white background, just reminding me of what changes need to happen. Like so. So, and then for this side, right, we need to bring the body back in, of course, because when the arm moves, can't be another arm there. So for this particular one, oh, I've got a lot of stuff open here, that's why. Close. And YouTube. Alright, so if I know that this is going to be gone, because we're going to be messing around with those arms, and I know the body is right about like so. Gotta make sure, because that's where the strap is for the backpack. In the backpack, we don't need, technically, you know what, I'll just gonna remove the backpack as well for now, because we're gonna be changing that. It's gonna be a leather backpack instead of this one anyway. And if anyone knows how to erase really good here and erase the PNGs in Inkscape, shoot me a message. But I haven't found a really good way to kind of do it the way I want it as of yet. So we're making up a new way. So whenever we do add this to the animation, those are the things that are going to be gone. So basically, of course, we have to animate this arm, so that of course is going to be there. And then the head is going to be separately modified as well. So, and all this other stuff won't be on here because it'll be blank. And this light is going to be here for that one there. So if you are following me on the Zoom where we're kind of coming together and making that story, I'm going to add a different light at the back of it as well. I think I want to add like a maybe poke a hole here and then have a red light back here. And the way I do that is just, we're gonna make it just white. And since we have this one here, if you notice, we have a hole in the front. And when we do move it into MOHO, so basically it'll be like that, or yellow, or whatever color I decide to pick. Same thing with these up here as well. This light will be blank, like so. And this window, what we'll do here is put these out of the way real quick. So I hope I made that clear. Like, so these two holes are going to be open because that's what we're going to use for the light. So this light is going to pop up, and we're going to have it like a little glow thing happening for the front. Not this crazy big, because this is the front light. But basically a little bit lower. And even if this is a different planet, we're going to go by the traffic laws in on our planet. Like the yellow blinker in the front and then the red in the back. So basically that's what we would do here. This technically would be yellow, and then we'll just put little glow like that, bring it down just a tad to where we get a shine. The other thing, when you're doing those overlays, like I was practicing for a couple things here. For the person who was asking me about different ways to change things, I only use filters to do that. Kind of change the mood if someone's watching it. But the reason why a lot of times I make this a little bit darker is because I want these to shine on top of the filter. So if we start bringing this, taking this filter back a little bit, this is what we want, right? Compared to everything else. So this would basically be on top of everything, on top of this dark filter. Some cases, another way that I kind of play with filters, and it's not a filter, basically it's just a covering that goes on top. But I change them from time to time based on where the character could be. So if you are doing lighter ones, when you see, in some cases you can mix them. to change it from just this plain, right? Maybe we can have like a cover like that, and we can make it red, something that indicates a fast moving scene, so to speak. Or you can do cuts from, showing a close up and then panning out and showing like this, like a long view, and then pan in and have this a little bit closer. The reason why you would want to do that is because it'll probably be a lot less work if you're doing it from a long shot. You have to keep in all those elements of this moving really quickly through the forest. But so basically, if you're animating it, technically this would be kind of stretched the long way, right? So if you're animating it and you're animating this for distance, right? These have to be different. Well, it doesn't have to be. If you ever look at any Flintstone cartoons where you keep saying this, it's just, we know it's the same frame. It's not fooling us. But for me personally, I don't want to redo the Flintstone kind of thing. So basically, you would have this, long setup, and the camera's going to be following along with just this part here. But remember, it's going to be when you do this long shot, you're animating this all the way through, right? So to kind of help out when it comes to not having to do that all the way, what you could do is just do a close up. And you'll see this in a lot of Japan animation type of things. They'll do a close up here, and this back here will kind of be blurry, where it'll kind of help you with not having to animate, making sure all of these trees look different as he's passing by, right? If you get a little bit closer, right, and you want to give it the effect of this moving quickly, you can use filters for that, right? And force technically, right, it would be a darker view of what should be reflected, basically, right? Because moving through a forest, nothing's ever totally the same color, right? If you're moving quickly, there's trees that's going to be showing like, some kind of tint, then might go away for a second, then come back. But if you do the close up and you want to use like tints and things like that to show the element of the character moving, you can do that with this, and also with the this little ship here, right? So we can have some kind of flashing event, like changing this maybe from this dark, and then we'll go a little bit lighter, then down again. You know what I mean? It'll just give the elements of this moving. The other one is, of course, you can always do the blurred background, which a lot of people do. Sometimes I like that. It just depends on what's going on. But if it's like something where it's a isolated character or an isolated kind of thing going on with just two characters, I don't really do the blur. The close up would be the shot, transitioning, maybe the back scenery, but there would be a I would use flashes that kind of make it indicate that this thing is moving. And you could do that with glow as well. If you bring it all the way down, right, where it's not too bright, but you can see a little bit of something, you can do that. And basically, you're just going to take it and just go all the way down and just keep doing it that way. So it'll look like the actual character is moving when it's not moving. You have different ways you can do that, because technically the background is going to be moving, not this. All right. The only time this is going to be moving to, the fourth wall, like the visual, is going to be if it's a long shot from this point to this point. All right. So that means this is moving. Everything in the trees is not moving. All right. So if you do the close up, all right, and you decide to do, trees still moving in the background, you'll be doing that and then changing it rapidly.